Hello, this is Alex Metricardi, Chief Marketing and Public Relations Officer for Living Branches, and today is Friday, January 15th. Welcome, and welcome to Ed Brubaker, our Living Branches President and CEO. Nice to see you in person again.
Yes, good to see you. And I guess you must have had positive news if we're in person.
No, I had negative news.
Negative, positive news.
Yes, I am very glad to be back. No one in my family caught COVID, so life is good. So
according to the protocols, you were allowed to enter the office again.
Correct. So let's hope they're correct.
I hope so. Because if they're not, you know who I'm going after. And it's not you. Dominic, are you listening?
You'll be thrilled. Well, we're being a little bit lighthearted today, and in a way, we have lots of good news to talk about. So let's start, as we always do, with a recap of COVID cases on our campus. And I'm very pleased to be able to say that for our residents, there is no one who's currently testing positive for COVID.
Yeah, that's very good news, and it's been a while since we've been able to say that, and we're not sure that this will be able to hold, even with the positive news that we'll report in a moment with the vaccine and the percentage of the vaccine. But yeah, we're at a different place than we were. Having said that, we're still in twice weekly testing of healthcare workers because the positivity rates in Montgomery County are above 10%, and also in Bucks County are above 10%. And in fact, Bucks County is higher than Montgomery County. And of course, the Willows of Living Branches is in Bucks County. So in personal care, we're doing, I guess, every other week testing of staff. And then in healthcare, we're doing twice weekly testing of staff. So we're still, while the other numbers can feel really good and we celebrate, we're still very much in this pandemic. And certainly if you read about other states, California in particular, this is not over yet. So I think that's the risk too, as we talk about the good news of the vaccine. This doesn't mean we can all put our masks away and, hug and kiss each other again. It means that it's going to take some time, but we are moving in the right direction from our perspective.
Well, and while we don't have residents testing positive on our campuses, we do have staff persons who are positive on all campuses right now.
That's right.
I think there's 8 at Dock Woods, 4 at Souderton, and 3 at the Willows. So it does continue to impact us.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And many of those are positive because they were tested. They are asymptomatic. But that, of course, is how you get to cancel the spread. So we're going to continue to do that.
Right, exactly. And the CDC would note that asymptomatic spreaders are known to be a significant way it's spread. And so we just need to pay attention to that. It's important to do that.
Well, this past week has been all about vaccines on our campuses. Maybe to recap, at Dock Woods, we have had clinics where we have been able to vaccinate our staff, our healthcare residents, and our personal care residents and memory care residents. Yesterday at Souderton, we had our first clinic there where we were able to vaccinate staff, healthcare, personal care, memory care residents. And then we do now have a clinic scheduled at the Willows, which will be next Friday, where we will be able to vaccinate personal care residents. So that's a step up from what we knew last week.
Yeah, that's right. I think last week we were reporting that we discovered, or CVS discovered, they had additional doses, and so we scrambled to vaccinate personal care. I think it was last Friday at Dock Woods, and then we could do it in a more scheduled and planful fashion this week at Souderton in the clinics there yesterday. So that was nice when you have a little bit more time to plan. And now, of course, next week at the Willows. So yeah, we're really pleased to be able to have the ability to have healthcare residents who choose, or were able to get it, personal care and personal care memory care. So we are still working on residential living, and we'll have a report on that too. But yeah, we're feeling good about where things are at this moment in time.
And we've made progress with the percentage of persons who are being vaccinated. As we talked about last week, our residents want the vaccine. There's hardly any question about that at all. And so educating staff has been a large portion of what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. And that's showing some promise.
Yeah, that's right. And I think we are doing things as far as accountability. So there's reporting in, and so we can follow up and not, throw people up against the wall if they haven't gotten the vaccine, but really to say, hey, what is it that can allay your fears or address your concerns, et cetera. And so we really want to try to do that. But being real clear, too, that we want you to get it. I mean, I'm not going to change that desire, but people may not choose to get it, and that's their choice. But it is our recommendation that people really do the research and figure it out. And so we do strongly encourage staff and residents to get the vaccine. Having said that, it's interesting. There's more and more places that I'm reading that are going to require staff. Now, that is certainly far from the majority at this point in time, and we're not at that point. That could change in the future, but we're not there at this point now. I know a local facility started being non-mandatory, and I think it appeared that maybe the administrator was not happy with the less than 50% sign up, and so frankly wrote some fiery letters, shall we say, memos to staff, and made it mandatory, and they're now terminating staff. So we're trying to thread the needle and find a balance, because we know people need to learn, and we want to encourage them, and we really hope that the vast majority of staff and residents, frankly, but staff I'm thinking of more particularly, that will get to the point of being comfortable doing that. Having said that, we're hovering right around 70% at this point in time, and that's higher than I've heard from some other local facilities. So we're pleased to be where we're at now, but I really hope that we can get beyond 80%. Mm-hmm. But I also know this next 10% is probably going to be harder than the first 70. But we'll continue to work at it and really strongly encouraging, but get the information, do the research, do the study, and figure it out.
One of the things that we're doing to try to help with that education is that Kathleen Roberts, our Director of Dementia Care Strategy, made some contacts with her friends at Penn University, or at the University of Pennsylvania medical system, actually, and ended up connecting us with Dr. Drew Weissman, who is, as you well know, one of the co-inventors, shall we say, of the mRNA technology that's used in the vaccines. So he's going to come and speak for our staff persons, which I just love. Yeah,
and that'll be next Friday, and we are hoping the technology works, that we'll be able to record it and then make it available on our website, and maybe even for other organizations as well, because it is not a new technology. It's first time it was used for vaccines, but people are really astounded that you're getting a 95% efficacy rate. And I personally believe, although I'm not a scientist, so don't take it from that angle, but that the mRNA technology, the teaching of our body to fight the disease, is probably where medicine is going. And so they're using this for other treatments as well. And so for people that kind of have the old view of vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine and Moderna is really taking a different approach. And so people need to study that and look at it. And if they're concerned about the side effects in long term, I understand that. And we can't fully predict all of that. But at the end of the day, help me understand what the long-term effect of COVID is. Not just for people that are dying, but those that are living. Yep. I mean, we have staff that have lost loved ones. Yep. Close to them. We have staff who have been out of work for months because of the side effects. So I understand the questions about the vaccine, but we can't forget the fact that COVID itself produces some very harmful side effects too. And so it's kind of like, which are you going to be more concerned about? And I, for one, put my my faith or whatever. I shouldn't necessarily use the word faith, but my confidence in the vaccine, because I certainly would rather have the vaccine preventing me from getting COVID than getting COVID. Having said that, I also fully recognize there's no guarantees about anything in life.
Well, and I've also heard you frame the question around, all right, if you are hesitant about the vaccine, what is your other plan? Because we can't stay like this.
That's right. That's right. And so for those people that say, well, let's just do it as is, that's not really a plan, to be honest with you. And so we believe the vaccine is the best plan. And so part of it for me is getting to herd immunity, typically thought of as 70 to 80%. Part of it for me then too is, am I going to be part of that team, if you will, to get us there? Or am I going to be on the other 20% that depend on everybody else to get us to herd immunity? And so for me, I've gotten comfortable with it, and I absolutely say I want to be part of the team that gets us there. Having said that, each person needs to figure things out on their own, quite frankly.
Right. Well, for questions from residents today, this is probably from about 15 residents that I've spoken with or emailed, and I know you've had calls, all of our staff have had calls. What people want to know is, when can residential living residents be vaccinated? What is the plan? And I feel like we need like a breaking news ticker tape noise or something like that, because we actually have something we can talk about.
Yeah, we do. And this is something that I would say I've reflected to people. The last year has taught us something about making decisions on the fly and learning new things by the minute, by the hour, by the day, and responding to them. And so I think that'll probably be good for us to use in the future too, but that's really the reality. There's new stuff all the time. And so what we know today may or may not be what are the things we need to follow tomorrow. And so the positive news is, and I think our industry, et cetera, has been putting pressure on, but we actually now have dates that will be communicated to the Dock Woods residents for residential living. I mean, I think even as we speak, some of those memos are being prepared and going out for next week. And so we're very excited about that. So that is kind of the last area to get vaccinated. And I know Monique is working on it for Souderton as well, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to there. So at that point, then all people that are interested, staff and residents, by the time those clinics are underway, will really have been able to do everyone in Living Branches who chose to get it done or were eligible. And so that's very exciting to be at this place. I know I have a phone call this afternoon with Representative Malagari as well, that he's giving me some updates on some things. And so I'll be able to let him know some of the things we're experiencing too, because I know our residents have been pressuring us, and I get it, and rightfully so. But we're really glad that we anticipate that this is the way it's going to be, and so it's wonderful news, actually.
Yeah, and it's going to be a logistical nightmare from the perspective that we're going to have multiple clinics happening next week. But right now, it is looking as though Thursday and Friday of next week we will be vaccinating residential living residents at Dock Woods and residents in Dock Manor at Dock Woods. I know Souderton has been very concerned about understanding when that's going to be able to happen for them. And I know that Monique is talking to CVS, you're talking to Representative Malagari. People are putting pressure all over the place. So we're hoping that soon we'll have an announcement about Souderton as well.
Yeah, that's right. And I've reached out to Montgomery County as well, and I haven't heard back from them. But yeah, we're hopeful. I mean, I think things are looking up in that regard.
And from a resident perspective, it's so much easier to be on campus instead of having to go someplace. So
right.
That's our hope, is
exactly.
that we will have it at Souderton.
Yeah. My point is, driving 6 pharmacists to our campuses is much easier than having 350 residents drive, or 1,000 residents or whatever, drive to the pharmacy. So logistically it'll be complicated to pull it off, but it's where we need to be. And so it's nice to be able to do that.
Well, let's hope common sense can triumph once again,
Right.
and we can get that to happen. So please check your mailboxes, check your email if you're residential living residents and family members, because we will be sending out communication that, frankly, you should probably have already received by the time you're watching this video. So good news there.
Yeah, that's right. Mhm.
Well, final closing thoughts for us?
Well, I guess maybe the thought I would have for today is it'll be interesting to hear Dr. Wiseman next week talk about the research that he did and his colleagues did on mRNA technology and how that works in this regard. And again, assuming our technology works, we do want to make that available for people to watch, residents and interested parties in the wider community as well, because I know he's a strong believer that, okay, the vaccine is our best hope to get to the other side of this, but he's also a strong believer in the approach to use mRNA to have in the vaccine this way instead of live virus. And so it's a different approach than some previous vaccines. And so I think it's just important for people to learn and develop and understand this and why we do believe that it's the best hope to get to the other side of this. I know people don't agree because I've had phone calls and meetings with people that have not agreed with everything I've said. And that's okay. We can disagree. But we still, in Living Branches, and I, Ed Brubaker, as CEO of Living Branches, I still strongly believe that the vaccine is the best way for us to get to the other side. And to those people who don't agree with that, they are absolutely entitled to their opinion. But my question is, what is your plan? What do you feel the best plan is then if you're not agreeing with this one? Totally understand the perspectives, but we can't just kind of say, well, we're going to get through this. I don't know how, but we'll somehow figure it out. And so I believe that God has given us intelligence. He's given us brains. He's given scientists brains. And so we need to use those brains just as we do in many other areas of life. I mean, we all drive cars, right? Or most of us do, except for Amish. But we use that technology that some smart person developed. I'm looking at this in much the same way. So get the knowledge, do the research, get comfortable if you can. And if you can't, well, we're all entitled to our opinions.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thank you for watching. If you have questions, please feel free to email us at coronavirusquestions@livingbranches.org, or you can always visit our website at livingbranches.org for more information about vaccines and clinics and everything else under the sun. Thank you.